Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Live. Now, this might sting a bit. A charmingly dysfunctional family, a closet full of skeletons, is a novel from first-time published author Claire Adlam. In this debut book, Claire takes us on a thrilling ride to a Zimbabwean farm and introduces us to the Hay family, especially teenage Kat, whose dependency on pain medication leads her into a battle she most likely won't win. Well, Claire is on Zoom with us this morning to shed more light on what the reader can expect from this roller coaster read. Claire, good morning. Now, in your own words, give us a bit of more information about this book and what inspired it.
Morning, and thank you so much for having me. This book, while it's a fiction book and it tackles quite a big subject, at the heart of the book, there's a lot of humor. It's a light-hearted story, but basically it follows the journey of a very kind of standard Zimbabwean family and having to overcome quite a few issues, and the main issue being substance abuse, as you already said. So the central character, Kat, she's just a normal teenager. It's a normal kind of family, but she has a freak accident that leads her to have kind of chronic pain management issues. And basically it follows her journey through that kind of accident and how the doctors treat her, and then the kind of like slippery slope into addiction, specifically pharmaceutical addiction.
Mm-hmm. One of the central characters is Kat. You know, you've just touched on a little bit, who experiences incidents that lead her to a lifetime of chronic pain. Unpack for us these freak accidents and the role it plays in her addiction.
So basically, she's kind of regular teenager, and she was trying to impress her boyfriend, and they were having like a casual game of rugby in the garden, but she was wearing stilettos, and then she tripped and fell and happens to fall into a swimming pool, and there's a bit of a near drowning incident, but it leaves her with a head injury. So up until that point, you know, she obviously didn't have any kind of health issues or anything, and it was purely the fact of trying to rid her of these pain, of the pain and daily migraines that lead her to be given these stronger and stronger painkillers. And you know, she kind of progresses from a fairly mild painkiller straight down the spectrum to, you know, the strongest opiate drugs there are. And it just really shows how dangerous those kind of medications can be if you have to take them for a long term, you know, on an ongoing basis, and what it does to the body, and how the addiction kind of follows on through from there.
Mm-hmm. And how do you deal with that theme of addiction? I mean, speak to us about how you explore this issue with caution, you know, through this character called Kat.
So basically, I mean, we all know that addiction is certainly not an easy road. But Kat in the book, so soon enough, she the drugs that she's able to get on prescription through pharmacies becomes not enough, and I think that's true of any kind of pharmaceutical addiction. You start on a low quantity and you build up and up and up. So what happens then is she then has to kind of start sourcing her own drugs, and that's where she kind of crosses over, let's call it the dark side. And she to feed her addiction, she kind of has to find these people who can supply her the drugs. So it sounds like quite a dark and heavy kind of road that she travels, but it's quite a good description about, you know, the progression of this particular kind of addiction. So, and then in the book, ultimately she reaches her rock bottom, and her in the absence of any kind of like formal rehab centers in Zimbabwe at the time, she is fortunate enough to come to a South African rehab center, and that's where she gets clean and, you know, starts rebuilding her life from there.
I mean, let's now get into the family and, you know, the skeletons that start to unravel as a result of Kat's addiction, one of them being her mother's alcohol addiction.
Yes, so the mother has her own reasons for her alcoholism, but it certainly kind of helps Kat that there's another family member who's also walked a similar path and also kind of got her life back in a treatment center.
I mean, the book also touches on the issue of land distribution policy in Zimbabwe. You know, it also heavily affects the Hay family. Speak to us about this.
So in the book, and the kind of normal farming family in Zimbabwe, and of course the land reform policy in Zimbabwe changed, you know, the livelihoods of so many commercial farmers. But in the book, the family kind of face facts. They're very kind of pragmatic about it, and once they move off their farm in Zimbabwe, they're able to rebuild their lives in a new venture in Harare that is unaffected by the land reform policy.
As much as this book, you know, taps into heavy subjects, it also written with, you know, a lot of wit, like you said in the beginning. Tell us a little bit about this and why this was so important for you to write it in this way.
You know, it's a really, really big topic, but I didn't want to write a very kind of heavy or depressing book about rehab or addiction. I think also, you know, we have to have a bit of a sense of humor, you know, when you face things with such enormous problems. So the humor helps a lot. A lot of the humor in the book comes from the grandfather, who is an elderly man who just really doesn't give a damn about what other people think. He lives his life. He's fiercely protective over his family, but he's very amusing, kind of within the family context. And a lot of the anecdotes are funny. There's some funny parts when Kat is in rehab and kind of getting her head around all the weird and wonderful characters that she meets in rehab. So there are tears in the book, but there's a lot of laughter as well.
Yeah. I want to talk about this title, This Might Sting a Bit. Tell us a little bit about that.
So this might sting a bit. I mean, you can obviously sense part of the story is my own personal story. And if I had $1 or a rand for every time a doctor or a nurse had said to me, you know, this might sting a bit, I'd be a very wealthy woman. I had to laugh. The last place I heard this phrase, this might sting a bit, was when I was getting my vaccine recently. And I just started laughing. And I couldn't explain it to the lady giving me my vaccine, but it just kind of full circle with the phrase.
All right, Claire, thank you so much. Congratulations on the book, Claire Adlam. And we were just in conversation with her about her debut book titled This Might Sting a Bit, a charmingly dysfunctional family, a closet full of skeletons. All right.